Good morning, team. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Today, October 10th, 9:47 here in the market. So inflation data came out here this morning at 8:30 a.m. Just to kind of go over those numbers if you haven't looked at them yet. So inflation rate year over year, consensus was it was going to be 2.3%. And then the actual was 2.4%, so pretty close. I mean, 0.1% off, a little bit higher than expected. Inflation rate month over month, consensus was it was going to be 0.1%. It was 0.2%, again, off by 0.1%. Year over year, core inflation rate forecast 3.1%, actual 3.3%. Then core inflation rate a month over month, again, forecast 0.2, actual 0.3. So very, very minimal difference, just a little touch higher than kind of what was expected. But as far as the overall day here, kind of starting to see the market pull back here a little bit. Kind of taking a look at the daily chart here. We've got room if it wants to continue to fall today. Back down to that 5792 area here on the ES. But definitely here we're underneath the VWAP, underneath the 200 average. 9 is below the 20 moving average here and kind of getting that push down lower. So going to be looking like we're going to be looking for shorts here on the day again, unless the market does something crazy and recovers and we get back above the VWAP, 9 gets above the 20 and we start to pump here. But definitely kind of looking up more short bias here on the day, especially with that inflation news. Although it wasn't way out of expectations, still a little bit higher than kind of what was expected out there. So again, kind of getting a move to the downside here. We'll sit back, we'll be patient, we'll look for this to retest some of those key areas around the 9 and 20 moving average and see if we can't get some shorts here on the day and kind of continue our nice little week here. So Monday 1500 in profit. Tuesday we didn't have any trades on the day, no real opportunities that I felt comfortable with taking, so that was a no trade day on Tuesday. Wednesday taking 606 in profits here, so sitting around about 2100 for the week. We'll see if we can't finish out these last 2 days strong and try to at least finish out the week with 2500, potentially more here. Again, kind of nice little downtrend here. Again, market kind of selling off. RSI right around that 33 area. Again, we kind of need to see this. I'd like to see it kind of pump back up, more toward the 20 moving average and then kind of confirm that we want to continue on lower here before I pull the trigger on any shorts here. So here we are getting a little pump here to the upside.
Order filled.
I'm going to add into this short here, right along that 9 moving average. Again, I will add here to the 20. Man, didn't get filled right there off that 20 moving average. That's where I really wanted to get filled. I was 1 tick away. Wanted to add 2 more contracts there. Going a little bit heavier today because I am more short biased in the market. Tend to make more money on these downside moves than I do on the upside. So not going too crazy in positions, but I will be adding 2 contracts instead of my typical 1 contracts here. I think today we've got a nice little day here where you can potentially make some nice little cash here in the market. Definitely want to take advantage of it here. So 2 contracts here to the short side. Shorting there off the 9 moving average. We'll add if it pops up to the 20 moving average. And then if we get a little upper shadow above the 20 moving average here, want to add into it. Again, same thing we've been doing all week here.
Order filled.
There we go. Gonna add into here. Don't be surprised if we get a nice little green candle here. Do see that volume kind of coming in here. No issues though. We do have these limit orders here above that 20 moving average. Just don't want you guys to be surprised if you see a big green candle come out of nowhere. Again, all part of the plan here this morning.
Order filled.
So there's that big green candle I'm talking about here. I want to kind of scale into it. We should see a nice little upper shadow here and this kind of start to pull back.
Order filled.
And there we go. There's that VWAP touch that I want here. That VWAP is going to correlate here on this spot. So we're going to add in here pretty aggressively. But again, we should see a nice little upper shadow kind of come in here, kind of pull us all the way back down. Again, like I said, don't freak out. Kind of talked about we were going to see that nice kind of big green candle come up here, potentially go retest that VWAP. VWAP got that little upper shadow that I was looking for, so we should have a nice little pullback here. The key is I want to get back below that 9 moving average, and we should start to hit all these profit targets down here. Stop loss for me is I'm going to be very worried if we start to get above that 200 moving average, and especially if we kind of get that 9 crossing over the 20 moving average there, we may really start to kind of rally back up to the upside here. So we do want to pay close attention to that. But again, we are getting that little VWAP rejection here. We're going to add in here to that 200 moving average. You can see it here on the SPY. Again, we're going to start to see this pull back here. This market getting really strong off this area. The market's starting to get a little bit overextended. 61 here on the RSI. Again, good sized position in here. See this come back down here. Going to be very interested to see what it does when it retests that volume weighted average price here. We should get a short-term 1 minute pullback here. That's going to kind of determine whether I close this out or let this ride a little bit longer here. So let's see. I don't want this testing that VWAP and starting to really push here. I want to move off the bottom. Again, kind of expected that big green candle to come in here, but didn't really expect this continuation here. I've got one more added order in here that I did just take. Now this is really going to become where we test this pullback here, especially as we're getting overextended here. We're almost 66 here on the RSI. We need that 1 minute pullback to come in, and that'll determine what we do from there. Taking a little bit more risk today. But kind of watching the level 2s again. We're waiting for that 1 minute pullback. It will come in here. This is going to want to fall back down to that volume weighted average price here on the spot, that 575.66 area. And that'll be key, because if we start to hold that area, I'll close that out for a minimal loss. But hopefully we can break below it and we'll start to see that big pullback kind of come in here. But this is going to start to give back some gains here soon. Hand on the trigger to close. Let's see if we can get that nice little flush here. Again, I want to see this come back down toward that non-moving average, which correlates to the VWAP here on this spot. And that'll determine whether I just close this out for a small loss or what we do from here. I'm not worried about this continuing to pump. It's going to run out of steam here. So let's see this go back down to that volume weighted average price. It's almost exactly where my cost average is at. And then again, maybe closing out there. Kind of take some risk off the table as the market looks like it wants to start to move higher here. Do not want to go against the trend, but let's see what we do when we come down here. May have to close this out if we retest this area and it wants to hold, but hoping for a nice little flush out here. So let's see here. This is a key area. Hand on the trigger to close. If we start to push off this area, I'll book the loss and then look to fight another day here. But let's see. Let's see if we can get a little VWAP flush here. Kind of wanting to hold that VWAP area. Let's see if we get a little push underneath. Trying to be patient here as we're getting that pullback. There we go. There's 737, 950, 1500 here. Let's see. Keep on coming. There's 2000, 3000, 2600. Yeah, come on, baby. Let's make a little money today. Let's close that out. Let's take 950 here to start the day off. So we did get that nice little red candle in here. Kind of starting to pump back up there. Got that little VWAP crack. Not something typically I like to do on a, like the dollar cost average that heavy on the way up. But kind of knowing, like I said, we were getting overextended. Kind of was looking for that nice little red candle here, but nice little close here because volume here coming right back to the upside here. Nice little volatility here on the day. So starting off the day with a decent sized trade here, 950 here on the day to start off. Kind of watching where the market wants to go here. We are looking bullish, even though we had that big red candle here. That was just kind of equalizing out that big move to the upside. Again, we got a little bit overextended. That's why I felt confident kind of holding that into this big push here. Again, I kind of called it out before the trade. I said, hey, don't be surprised if we get, You know, some big green candles in here, kind of dollar cost average our way into it because it will fall back down. So Newton's, Newton's first law, what comes up must come down. Big key area here, though. I want to see if it holds the VWAP here on the SPY. This is a kind of a key area.
Order filled.
I'm going to jump in here, small size here. Stop loss is going to be right here.
Order filled.
Man, market a little all over the place here. Now I'm kind of falling back below that VWAP area. Going to stop out there for $125 loss. Man, tough sledding right now. Like I said, we're seeing these big drops, big pops. A little bit all over the place. So we'll sit on our hands for a minute here. Try to get a clear understanding of the market. What's a little bit peculiar about the day here is this VWAP area. It keeps busting through it and bouncing above it, busting below it, bouncing above it. Typically, we don't see that. Typically, that is an area of support or resistance. It's kind of not respecting that area, which is very, very weird today. So let's just sit on our hands because we've seen pretty big ranges here on some volatility. But now that we're kind of back above the VWAP, now it's back above that 20, we are looking bullish here on the day now. But again, we're seeing big ranges, so a little bit hard to trade here. Now, typically, I'd be looking for a pullback back down to that volume-weighted average price, but it has not been respecting that area. So 825 here on the day. Again, kind of started off the day with a bang here, really dollar cost averaging and this big move to the upside. And we just had to kind of wait for our nice little pullback area to get paid off on that. Almost maxing out my full-size position, which is going to be 20 here on this account at the current moment. Can take about 20 contracts before I'm kind of out of margin. But wild day to kind of get the day started here. It looked like we were just going to be continuing on lower here all day today as we got that big pullback. 9 was underneath the 20. Then we had a big rally all the way up to the VWAP, then busting through the VWAP all the way to the 200 moving average, a little bit above the 200 moving average before we finally got that nice little pullback entry in here. But again, I want to sit on my hands just because we've seen these wild ranges on these candles here. A little bit hard to trade. A little bit too unpredictable. Now, we like the volume, we like the volatility, but when it's unpredictable volatility, that's where it gets tough. It's not respecting specific moving ranges here. Looking to buy to the long side if we get a little dip here. I'm going to keep the stops tight on this. Just because, again, we've seen these wild ranges. See if we can get filled here.
Order filled.
We'll take one contract to the long side here. Got 2 more behind it toward that 20 moving average, toward that VWAP area as well on the SPY. Be looking for this to break high days here. Yeah, I want to keep the stops tight here on a day like this with wild ranges. Kind of take profits as they come.
Order filled.
There we go. We're going to add a contract here. So we're pushing right down to that volume weighted average price. I want to see us if we're going to hold this VWAP on the SPY here. There's also a trend line. Again, I'm not a big trend line trader, but I am aware of where they're at. Let's hope we don't get this wild pullback here. Hand on the trigger if I see selling pressure come in, even though I got the stop losses here. There we go. Nice little lower shadow there off that VWAP area. There we go. We're going to take one contract of profit off here. Stop loss is going to be break even here on the rest. Let's see if we can start to push here. Nice little lower shadow here. Kind of showing we've got strength in the market. See, this is an area where we did respect that volume weighted average price. Kind of followed by an upper shadow here. Want to be patient on this move. Stop losses take profits earn in here. No matter what, we will take profit off this play. It all depends on how much profit here. Hopefully we get a good push here. We're up about 462.50 on these last two contracts. Again, already took some profit here off the table. But looking for this to break high days here. And we get that little push. Trying to be patient, trying to maximize the profit off this, as we have shown we want to hold that VWAP area. We need to get some action to the upside here. Watching the level 2s, looking at the buyers and sellers, making sure we don't get imbalanced here. RSI 58, so it does have some room. We can run back up here. Let's see if we can at least hit this profit target. 10.09 here in the market. Move these stop losses up, kind of trail them. Having a tough time hitting that 58.30 where that profit target is. Come on, give me a nice little run up here. Kind of finish off this trade and some nice profit. We got about 600 bucks in profit if we can hit both these profit targets. There we go. Wow, nice little push out of nowhere. Nice little upper shadow. Going to get filled there on both. It's going to put us up $1,550 here on the day. Nice little push up. Again, we were looking for that VWAP pullback. We got filled right into here with 3 contracts. Took the profit on the way up here. Kind of starting off the day though with a pretty wild trade. Again, I kind of expected to see that big green candle come in, and I'll be honest, I did not expect that continuation. But again, I had a plan for it if we did continue all the way up toward that VWAP and 200 moving average areas, just to really kind of cost average in, then wait for the pullback, back down to reality toward that VWAP area. That would put us, break even. And luckily we got that, kind of continuation to the downside there, that little bit lower shadow of that liquidity grab. We were able to get out of that with some decent little profit to start the morning at 9.50, which was a good call, because then we had this big green candle kind of follow up right next to it. And then a small little $125 loss here, and then a nice little $600 play here, putting us up $1,550 here on the day. Let's see what the market has in store here. Market continue on higher. Again, we'll wait for pullback entries. Market looking like it wants to stay to the long side here. Again, we're above the VWAP here, above the 200 moving average, as well as that 9 moving average is above the 20, showing that we do have active buyers in the market. Getting a little overextended here to the upside here, 63 on the RSI. So we'll look for a pullback, we'll look for a hold, and we'll look to jump in. And a little 1 minute pullback coming in here. But first trade of the day, you got to be very, very careful with those. That is you need to have some experience behind you to kind of handle that type of volatility where you're looking, at the P&L and you're seeing a $4,000 loss there. But time in the market and experience will kind of let you know that, hey, this is not going to go BANANAS and continue on higher with no news. It'll run out of steam, and you've just got to be very patient off that. And honestly, I did not know if we were going to profit off that. Luckily we got that red candle that kind of broke that volume weighted average price. I was kind of willing to take a $400 or $500 loss if needed. If I saw it hold the VWAP and continue on higher, I was ready to cut out of that trade with a loss. Again, luckily we got that liquidity grab underneath the VWAP. Was able to get out of that with profit, but that is got to be very careful when you do that, because that is an account ruiner if you don't know how to handle that type of volatility, especially if it continued on higher. What is your max stop loss? So let's see if it holds this little uptrend here. Anybody keeping up with Hurricane Milton? I watched a little bit yesterday of some reporters out there. Let's see here, a little bit of an upper shadow. Wonder if we get behind that trend line and we start to trend lower here. May take a stab on a scalp if we close below that non-moving average here. So we do key area here, starting to get behind that trend line. Kind of a weird area where the market's telling us it's very bullish here on the day, as the 9's above the 20 again, VWAP, 200 moving average. But it has kind of respected this trend line here. Now we're kind of testing it back up to the upside. If we get a big push down, you could really start to see this start to fall apart here. Again, maybe worth trying to take some quick little scalps with some tight stops. If we can nail the top of this range and then see it pull back. Volume kind of dead here. Kind of sitting back. Market looking like it wants to push here. We'll see. Let's sit on our hands, kind of wait for the next opportunity we get. 3 trades on the day, 2 winners, 1 loser. Again, the key to trading is always keeping those losers small. The loser that we took was $125 versus the 2 bigger trades that we took. One thing I did want to throw out there, because those scammers seem to be back in the Discord, which our moderator does a pretty good job of kind of getting rid of them. But just a little PSA: I will never DM you. These scammers will put out these messages that looks like it's an account for me, saying that I will trade for you and you can deposit money in the account, and distribute profits and things like that. Just know that that's a scam. I will never never DM you personally. Now, if you DM me and I respond, and I'll post this in the chat, there's a 4-digit indicator behind my name that'll verify that it is me. Again, I'll put that back in the chat just for, or in the Discord just for a PSA. But just be wary of those. We've had a couple people in the group that kind of fell for it, that kind of got scammed out of money. So, again, I will never ask you for money, and I will never trade for you in that account and all that stuff. And the scammers are getting pretty good where a lot of these websites look legit, but they want to throw that out there. Which you probably may or may not have gotten a message from an account that looks like me. And if you do receive an email or a DM asking for that, there's a scammer chat. Just post that conversation, and then we'll take care of it. Again, we get the Department of Justice involved for the internet scams, and we just send them those accounts so they can kind of track them down. Which I don't know if they do anything or not with those, but at least we report it. Try to keep them from having somebody fall victim to it. A little bit of a pullback here. Again, kind of starting to fall here. May have an opportunity to make some money on a short, but let's kind of sit over our hands and see. Big areas we want to get below that VWAP, get that 9 kind of coming down underneath that 20, kind of give us a clear cut entry here. As again, we've seen some bigger ranges here in the market. Market's been a little tough to trade here this morning. There's a little VWAP bounce there. You see that little lower shadow. So market's now kind of weird, right? So this morning the market did not respect the volume weighted average price. This is the second time now that we've seen it kind of hold it. Again, sitting 1,550 here in profits. 1020 here in the market. So having a little bit of a pullback here, but again, we are holding that VWAP area here on the SPY. Volume kind of dying off here a little bit, 1022 here in the market. Here's a little pullback. Again, we are still trying to hold that VWAP area. So really kind of a 50-50 toss-up here, whether we continue on down or if we get a big pullback here. RSI kind of right in the middle here, sitting around that 46 area. Kind of right where I like it. But not a clear-cut direction yet in the market. Buyers and sellers here going back and forth. Again, we'll let the other traders be the guinea pig on where this goes. Then we'll be able to play off of it. Kind of curious if we hold that VWAP area or if the 9 gets below the 20 and then below that 200 moving average and we really start to pull back here. I want to see if we do come up here and we retest this area and we get like an upper shadow where sellers are in here. I may potentially look to go short here. We have a tight range where that VWAP area is and that 9 and 20. But if we can get short here, it pulls back down and we get a crack of that VWAP, we may see a pretty nasty pullback here that we could have a nice little profit off of. But again, it'd be smaller size here. I wouldn't be 100% confident, but we'll see. See what we get here. Getting 3 trades on the day, 2 winners, 1 small loser here, 15.50 in profit. There we go. Let's see. I want to see this come up, test this key area here. And if we fail, I want to go short. Right now, it's trying to hold this VWAP area. Almost makes me want to scale in here because it is getting weak. I just don't want to pull the trigger too early in case this starts to rally back up off that VWAP, which is also a possibility here. We're still kind of in that 50-50 range, but starting to lean more toward the short side here. As we are getting weak, but I want to see this retest this area, kind of confirm that do want to short here. Let's see. This is a key area here. We've got about 7 seconds on this candle. I want to see how this candle closes. If we close below that 9 and 20, I'll go short here. Closing right on it. Not the close I was looking for. Still a 50-50. Whether this really takes off or this shoots back down. We're back to the VWAP here. It's a hard area here. Pretty tight range. Again, leaning more toward the short side here, but again, still 50-50. I'm not in the business of 50-50 trades. Sellers jumped on that pretty quick. Kind of jumped on it quicker than they did on the SPY, which is strange. So just kind of consolidating, right? In this big range here between this VWAP support area, which you can see it right here, which also aligns to the open on the day, that 575.77 area. And kind of getting rejected here off that 9 and 20 moving average. I think the better trade for us is to just kind of let this consolidate here. And if we start to break up, kind of break to the upside, we can look to go long here. If we break below that VWAP and we have a big pull below it, then we can look to go short. I don't want to guinea pig in here and just kind of take guesses and just get, stopped out if I'm wrong. I'd rather look for an A quality setup here, which we don't have just yet. There's a big key area here, big moment for the market. That's going to decide where we go here. And it may kind of consolidate here for a while. I am leaning more toward the short side. If I had to take a guess, I would think the shorts would be the better option here, but again, I'm not going to guess in the market. I want to see a clear cut kind of move here. So again, kind of in this area, consolidation. Again, that's why there's no reason to be the guinea pig and take trades in here. We'll just see if we start to break out, or if we start to break below that VWAP area. No reason to be the guinea pig here. 10:30 in the market. Plenty of trading day left here. Up 1,550 bucks. Are we going to break out here? Getting a little push to the upside. It could be a false breakout, so we'll be careful here. We'll see how these candles close. Again, I want to see the 9 above the 20 before I would pull the trigger to the upside. Again, right now it's all about waiting for that confirmation that we are going to have buyers stay in the market. There's a little bit 1 minute pullback here. Let's see if it pushes all the way back down here. Yep, there we go. So again, let's wait for confirmation before we jump into this. No reason to just trade within this area of consolidation here. Buyers and sellers, bulls and bears are fighting in here. So whoever wins will jump on the bandwagon. Again, we get a drop below the VWAP, we'll go short. We get a push above that 9 and 20 moving average with a crossover here of the 9 and 20. We can look to go long with profit targets toward the high of the day here. A little bit of wild of a trading day, I will say that here. Again, we had that nice little push to the upside here. Kind of dollar cost our average way in. Got the drop that we wanted, made a little bit of profit there, 950. Took a little $125 loss there. I'm sorry, there on this candle. And then we bought this nice little dip. And then we saw it rip up and took, decent sized profit here. But right now, not much action, right? We are just sitting sideways, as Paul Wall would say. Come on, let's do something, market. Let's give us an opportunity to make some money here. I'm tired of watching you go sideways. 10:33 here in the market. Sitting right on the VWAP. So again, waiting for some type of move here. We are sitting on the VWAP, that 575, 77 area. There's also the opening range at 930. So big area here. Big area for the market. This is really going to determine whether we... See? Look at that volatility right off that area here. Like I said, the market's really watching this area. A little bit of liquidity grab there, getting a little bit lower shadow here. Expect some wild volatility. We'll see here. A little bit of a liquidity grab. Except the market really watching that area. Good thing is RSI sitting right around that 45 area, kind of right in the middle where I like it. So we can really play this area once we kind of get a confirmation of where the market wants to go. Get a little bit lower shadow. This may start to push off that area again. We don't know. We're just playing this consolidation range here. Again, I'm not going to be the guinea pig. I'll let the other traders in the market be the guinea pig on this one. I want a solid trade setup before I pull the trigger on anything. So we got a nice little day here, that 1550 here on the day. Again, want to be very selective on the trades that we take from here. Don't want to give any of the profit back on the day. So it's going to put us right around for the week. If we don't take another trade here, we're going to be like 3,000, 36, about 3,700 on the week. We still got Friday left. Not bad for a couple hours of work. So we may start to pull back here. Even though we're getting a big red candle, doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, because we've seen these lower shadows come in and push the market right back. But let's see. If we can close here below the VWAP area, I'll look to short if we get a 1 minute push and rejection. Would be my strategy here on this one with a tight stop loss. Really moving forward here on the day. It's going to be tight stop losses as we've kind of made a decent amount of profit again. Not looking to give any of that back. Like to add on the day if anything. See a little lower shadow coming in here. So again, now right back to the VWAP here. We got about 2 seconds left on this candle. Let's see what it does. Closing right there on the VWAP area. Very, very tricky. And it's been a tricky day, I'll say that. I said, looked like the market just going to fall apart. Got a big lower, big red candle, big upper shadow, pushed it right back to the volume weighted average price. Now it's kind of looking like it wants to push back up. So again, let's not be guinea pigs here. Let's look for confirmations on these trades before we take them. Fortunately, this is just kind of moving sideways on these big ranges. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 candles. Almost 20 minutes of consolidation here. A couple areas where it looked like it was going to break out, then it fails. A couple areas where it looked like it was going to really, take a turn to the downside, and then these big lower shadows came here and failed. So kind of knowing what we know here, the best case scenario for us, just like what I talked about, is to sit on our hands, not get caught up in this consolidation, and just trade back and forth and burn commissions for no reason. Just really wait for the market to decide, hey, are we going higher or are we going lower? And again, we'll, like a bandwagon fan, we'll just jump on the winning team. Man, I love the month of October here in Kentucky where it starts to cool down, get the leaf changing, but man, it fucks with my allergies, something nasty. So again, in the words of the great poet Paul Wall, we are continuing to sit sideways here. Again, we gotta wait for this to break out or fall out. Again, we're gonna be a bandwagon fan and jump on that team. Again, still leaning more toward the short side, just because now we're underneath the ES's VWAP 200 moving average, the 9's underneath the 20. Again, I would expect this to kind of fall apart. But that also may not be the case, and we may get the breakout, and it stops out all these short sellers, and we get a nice little run to the upside. So again, not looking to pull the trigger until I get a confirmation of which way we're going here. It is really doing everything that I can to hold on to this volume weighted average price. Again, we have touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. We have touched that volume weighted average price. kind of my analogy of that is imagine, you're sitting on a frozen lake bed, and you keep putting weight on it and you keep putting weight on it. Eventually that ice breaks and you fall through. The more times you start to touch it, the weaker and weaker that ice gets, that support area, and eventually it'll start to crack and then you'll get that move. But again, that is not always the case, but that's typically the case that we see. But, and typically we don't see it touch that area more than like 3 to 4 to maybe 5 times. We've touched it 12 times. This is going on 13 times we've touched it. Very, very tough area here. And again, we've got enough volume in the market to really push this either higher or lower, but again, we just got to sit back, be patient, and wait for the market to dictate which way we're going to go, and then again, we'll jump on it. We'll jump on the winning team. But 1040 here in the market, 15 at 50 here in profits. I'll get you the after commissions number here, but I need to restart my computer because my graphic card is need to update, and it's got my toolbar way bigger than what it's supposed to be, so it's kind of blocking my after commissions number here at the bottom. But I would still think I'd say we've probably burnt $60, $70 in commissions today because we did take a pretty aggressive positions here. So we're probably 60, 70. We're probably 1480-ish, if I had to guess, somewhere around there. 1480-ish, 1490 in profit after commissions. So looking like we want to break to the downside here. Starting to get weak. I may jump on this. Finally got that crack that I was looking for. What's this area? Let's go right back up to the VWAP with some of these shorts. I'm going to jump in this here. I think we're going to get weak. I may be jumping in this just a little bit early, but I've got these limit orders above it. There we go. Right to the VWAP here. Going to add to the short. Hoping we don't get like some crazy green candle here right behind it. All right, 3 contracts in here to the short side. Again, stops are going to be tight here on this. Again, I've got adds up to that VWAP 200 moving average here. Oh my God, you're gonna really pop on me like that? Don't you do me dirty today, market? Got one more added here. I'm gonna set stop losses. I'm at 4, that'll be 5. All right, here. No, I do not want to add there. I'm gonna put stop losses right here.
Order fill.
All right, I got one more order. Wow, we're gonna start to get stopped out here. What a crazy.
Order fill.
The market's bananas today. Man, we really gonna get get stopped out of here. Got 2 contracts left to the short side. Got these 2 stop losses in here.
Order fill.
Man, we're gonna give back $700 off that. Wow. But I gotta respect that stop loss. That's crazy. Wow, we got that confirmation move below the VWAP, and then just what a crazy move to the upside to give back some of that profit here on the day. But I've got to respect that the market is just tough trading today. That is the second time we've seen that where it looks like the market's going to really start to give back, and then we just get a crazy push out of nowhere to the upside. And unfortunately, I am going to give back. Like, I got to respect those stop losses and watch this come crashing all the way back down. But got to respect the stop loss on that. That may be the last trade of the day for me. That may be the market telling me to get out, to stop trading on the day, that it's a little bit too volatile, a little bit too wild here. We're up $888, $887.50. Wow. Look at that pullback. I mean, what do you do with that? Just like not respecting any key levels. Just big pushes to the upside, big red candles to the downside. Tough trading today. If you took profit on a day like this, congratulations. This is some of the toughest market conditions that I've seen in a while here in the market. You're going to have days like this, though, in the market where it's very, don't want to say, I mean, yeah, kind of unpredictable, but just more wild than anything. Just, again, ranges just all over the place and not respecting key areas. Tough day. Look at that. Now, is it gonna fall below the VWAP here? Is it gonna hold that VWAP? Right now, kind of want to sit back and enjoy some popcorn and watch this crazy market, because it is tough out here. It is all over the place. Again, we had this area of consolidation, and we played it about as smart as I could play this by not jumping in all this consolidation. And kind of once I saw that break below, which is right here underneath that VWAP, we had the limit orders to add back up to the VWAP. Typically what you'll see here when the 9's below the 20 like that, below the VWAP, below the 200, again, I'm going to take this trade 10 times out of 10 times because it typically works out. We were patient. We saw the break below the VWAP. Typically, what it'll do is it'll go retest that area. That's where we had our limit orders to kind of add, and we had some limit orders all the way up to that 200 moving average to add to in case it kind of broke above it, get a little bit of liquidity grab. Typically, you'll see that. You'll get the upper shadow, and then it'll come right back down, and we can take profit off that. As you can see, that is not what happened. Again, we just, big green candle here followed by another crazy big green candle. And again, I had to respect the stop loss and not take the risk of trying to add into this when the RSI was in a spot where it was right at 50. This had room to really run if it wanted to. Now, hindsight always 20/20 in trading. We did get that big crack, kind of like what we saw earlier today. But I could not risk the market continuing to move higher and then put me in a bad situation where I'm up $1,500 on the day, and then all of a sudden, I'm red on the day. That is one of the worst feelings in trading, when you're, up decent in profit for the day, and then you give it all back plus more, and then you close the day out red. It's tough, So I had to respect the stop loss on that one, and take the L there. What was that? 4 trades on the day here, 2 for 2. Again, the losers are smaller than the winners, so that's how we're taking profit. But look at this wild volatility. This is tough sledding today. Again, congratulations if you're green on the day, because this is, really outside of what the market norm is as far as what we typically see. Just one of those days that is going to be tough on any trader out there, experienced or newbie alike. When you have those big ranges to really start the day off, and then a lot of people, and I was a victim of this early in my trading, where you have these areas of consolidation and you get caught up in this, right? You're like shorting, then you're stopping, you get stopped out, then you go long, then you get stopped out, then you go short, then you get stopped out. And all you're doing is, death by 1,000 paper cuts, and then just burning commissions all the way through there. So areas like that consolidation, the best way to play them, even though it didn't work out today, is kind of what we did. Wait for confirmation. We finally got a close below that VWAP area. Wait for the retest of it, kind of scale your way in. Unfortunately, we just got, some big momentum pushes right behind that area. And again, we got stopped out there. But very, very wild trading day here for a Thursday. Luckily, it looks like, I'm probably done on the day. I'm not going to take any more trades. We got about 10 minutes left before 11 anyway. Luckily, I'm going to walk away with profit here. Again, I'll let you know that after commissions number, we're probably going to be like 7. I'm going to say I'm burnt somewhere. Again, graphics card. I need to restart my computer because the toolbar is kind of covering up my profit after commission. But I'll get that posted in the chat once I restart that graphics card. But we're probably sitting, I'm going to say, high 700s after commissions. I've burnt probably a good amount of commissions on the day here, probably close to 80 to 100 bucks, somewhere within there, I would guess. But before commissions, we're at 887.50 on the day. But again, these are days like this. I guarantee you, there's a lot of traders out there that just blew accounts because it has been tough sledding here today. But still looking not too bad for the week. 1,500 Monday. Again, no trades on Tuesday. 600 yesterday. Again, we're going to be about 800-ish today. So we're sitting about 3,000 here on the week in profit. Again, not too bad for about 5 hours of work. But Celeste, tough trading day. Gave about half of our profits on that last trade away. Which, like I said before, not what I wanted to do, but unfortunately that's exactly what happened. The market had other ideas. It just wild ranges here. Again, congratulations if you made money on the day today, because this is not easy. Not an easy day to trade. Let's just kind of zoom out here and kind of look at the full gambit here of all these wild moves. Right here, so here's 945, kind of reaching the bottom here at 945. Crazy move to the upside, a little bit of a pullback, move to the upside, and then kind of pulling back here, and then push to the upside, and then pulling back. And now it looks like we want to break below that VWAP area. Like I said, tough day. Again, if you're green, congrats. Not an easy feat on a day like this. So it's going to be 1052 here. Again, I am not going to pull the trigger on anything else. I want to make sure I lock up this profit that I have. Again, I tried to add on the day and ended up doing exactly what I told myself I didn't want to do and give profits back, and I ended up giving half my profit, half the gains back on the day here that I fought so hard for today. So, like I said, that's, after that last loss, that is my cue to leave the market, take my gains, enjoy the rest of the day, and come back to fight tomorrow. So we'll see what market conditions that we have tomorrow. Hopefully it's better than what we've seen today. Like I said, just kind of sitting back, watching, enjoying some popcorn, watching this price action here. Because, again, now, you had that big push to the upside where we got stopped out. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Now we've got this big red candle. Now back below that VWAP area, And if I was going to take another trade, I'd look for this to close here. Look for that push back up to the VWAP and short. But, in the words of our late President George W. Bush, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again, or whatever he says. But I'm not going to get tricked again out of the market. So that is going to be it for me. Again, before commissions, $887.50. Again, I'll get the after commissions posted out here. Again, I'm going to say we're going to be in the low 800s or high 700s here, burn a decent amount of commissions here on the day, kind of with all this wild volatility and taking a big position to kind of start the day off with I guess almost 17 contracts to the short side there to kind of pull out that first profit. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I got this session recorded. I've been doing a better job here of getting every session recorded for you guys, putting them out on YouTube. So we've got the whole week recorded here. This session's going to be recorded. I'll get this uploaded to YouTube. Out. The good news is finally Spectrum in my area, which is the worst internet provider in history, but unfortunately where I live, that's the only choice that I got. I'm on their gig internet where it's 1,000 download, but only like 40 upload speeds. So it takes a while to upload those videos to YouTube. That's why, like, if you see me post them, if you click on them, it's like processing, and it takes like a couple hours to actually get those uploaded. It's because the upload speeds are horrible. Finally, in our area, Spectrum's offering symmetrical speeds. So I'm going to get 1,000 down and 1,000 up finally, so that I'll very quickly get these videos uploaded to YouTube after I'm done. And if there's ever been any issues with this stream, I don't think there has been. I don't get like a lot of packet loss or whatever. After today, that'll be fixed. I've got the router, or the modem is en route to, for them to get the symmetrical speed. So I'll get that installed today. So those YouTube videos will be uploaded a lot quicker than what you've seen in the past. But yeah, super excited that Spectrum finally is giving us symmetrical speeds. But I've been trying, unfortunately, there's not fiber in my area, anything like that. Spectrum, they hold at least for our area, they hold it just because I live on the water. Is my guess, is where we live is in a flood zone on the water. Like I said, I'll walk out of my back door and I'm on my dock and could be on my boat in less than 2 minutes. But I think that's why they don't have fiber in the area, just because it's so prone to flooding, that I think the cable lines work better. And especially because the cable lines are not buried underground, they're on telephone poles, because again, we can't bury anything underground because it's all a flood area here, which kind of always sucks, because anytime, like, we had that Hurricane Helena, we didn't get affected by it too bad, but we had 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Those trees fall down all the time, because in the area that I live, there's a lot of mature trees, and it always, I lose power at least 4 to 5 times a year, just by normal, like, heavy thunderstorms. But I've got the battery, the generator backup, but I don't like to trade on generator only. And one thing I will say too, when you do have a live account with your trading, one thing to invest in that has saved me a couple times is having battery backups to your computer and your modem and your internet and your trading screen. Because if I lost power right now, it'll automatically switch to the USB backup power, and I'll have about 30 minutes of battery power that'll continue to keep my computer running, my internet, my computer screen, all the essentials there, that if I do lose power, I can get out of a trade and not just be kind of stuck and trying to jump on my cell phone real quick to close out a trade, which in this type of market where you have these crazy moves, you could be down a significant amount of money very quickly. So one thing with your trading, I would invest, when you do go into a live account, is to invest into a USB backup. And the other thing too is I have a internet backup as well on cellular internet, where if the internet dies, it'll quickly switch over to the tower internet. So I always want to have backup internet, backup electrical power as well. One thing that caught me, now luckily I was trading, this is way back in the day at one of my older houses, but I was in a trade, and luckily I was, like everybody, starting off with like very small size. I think I had like 4,000 or 5,000 in the account, and power went out. I didn't have that backup. Again, I'm trying to run to my phone to close out a trade. Now luckily the trade went in my direction, so I was able to take profit off of it. But that kind of gave me the pucker factor of, like, it only has to happen to me once to realize, like, okay, I got to have backup power to everything. But definitely something to invest in. They've got them on Amazon. I think the one I got's like $200 or $300 because it's like the biggest battery backup, because, of course, the desktop, the computer screen, all that stuff, uses a bunch of juice, and you want to have as long as you can to, if you're in a trade, give you a little bit of wiggle room to kind of let the trade play out before you have to kind of close the trade out. But just something to think about. I get questions asked on what the setup is. You don't, for what we trade, we don't need anything crazy. You don't need the type of computer that I got. Of course, I've invested pretty heavily in all that stuff because I do it for a living. But, really you just need decent PC, whatever screens that you want to use that helps you with your trading, and some battery backups. And of course, if you're trading on a laptop, it's not a big issue with that, but you do want to have backup power to your internet provider. But 11 o'clock here, again, we're going to take profit out of the market, about $800 or so. Again, I'll get that posted. I'll get this YouTube video posted here, and that is going to be it for me. So congrats if you made money on the day today. This was not an easy trading day. You'll have these type of days in the market every now and again. So it's also very important to kind of have your stop loss in mind. Whatever your daily stop loss is, that kind of tells you, like, okay, if I'm down $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 on the day, I'm done, right? Because one thing too with trading is, you can go on tilt very quickly. If that first trade, if I would have lost $4,000 to $5,000, then I got to think like, oh, I've got to, force trades to battle back to make money back on the day, and then you start to get in that rabbit hole, and then a $5,000 loss turns into a $6,000 loss, turns into $7,000, $8,000. So you want to have like a daily kind of limit in your head. For me, typically, I don't want to lose any more on the day than it's going to take me 2 to 3 trading days to get back. If you take a huge loss in your account, especially if you're trading with limited funds, then you take a loss, and then maybe you're able to take 4 to 5 contracts typically in your account, but you took such a big loss. Now you can only take 1 or 2 contracts, and then it's going to really take you a long time to dig out of that hole. Even if you do trade, perfect, kind of going, kind of moving forward to get that money back. So that's kind of my rule that I've always stuck by, is I never want to take a loss bigger than it's going to take me 2 to 3 trading days back, because it doesn't mean that I'm going to come back into the market the next day and make money. You're going to have drawdowns, and man, knock on wood here, I haven't had a drawdown in a while. It's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but there's going to be days that you guys watch me where I'm going to lose money, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Hopefully no longer than that. Hopefully I at least have 1 green trading day that week. But it is coming. It's going to happen. I've been there, went through drawdown periods. So you definitely, like I said, if you have a day that's worse than 2 or 3 of your average winning days, it's very hard to kind of climb your way back out of it again, especially if you're trading with limited funds. And that's where the hard part of trading kind of comes in, is how you handle those drawdowns. It's like in baseball, right? You go through a batting slump, and you may have been batting 300, and now all of a sudden you're a par 100 batter, and you're like, dude, what's going on? My swing hasn't changed. I used to be a good player, now I suck. Same thing will happen in trading. Be like, man, I used to be a good trader, I don't know what's going on. You start to second guess yourself. And what a lot of traders do, and I've been there, done that, is like you go through those slumps, and then you think it's your trading. You're like, okay, like I've got to change my strategy. That is the wrong thing to do, right? Your strategy is what made you profitable in the first place. Do not go back and try to change a strategy and think it's your trading. You will go through slumps in trading. The only thing you can do is go back and start to analyze the trades that you did took to make sure it wasn't your trading, right? You want to go back, analyze those trades, and say, hey, why did I take this trade? Would I take this trade in the future? Or did I take a bad trade? Did I try to jump in too early? What were my emotions that day? What was I feeling? All those type of things. That's like when I go through a kind of a downswing, which again, it's going to come at some point. Downswings it's going to happen in my account. I'm going to start to take losses back to back to back. Unfortunately, it's the name of the game. And I'll go back and I'll look, and kind of go through a trader rehab period, and probably start to size down a little bit, but still take the same quality setups and look, like, hey, when I took that loss, was it because I traded poorly, or was it just the market conditions out there? You really want to take a look at that. Pete Rose, rest in peace, he just passed away, but one of the greatest interviews that I saw with him, and I'm a big Cincinnati Reds fan, was him and Alex Rodriguez were having a conversation live on air, and he asked, Pete, one of the greatest hitters of our baseball generation, kind of how did he handle, slumps? And he kind of explained it perfectly, almost the same as trading. It's like, hey, a lot of batters, when they go through slumps, they want to try to change their swing. They want to try to change what they do. And I advise against that because that swing is what got those baseball players into the big leagues. And Pete always said, all he would do is maybe he would move into the box, out of the box, up in the box, or down in the box, but he would not change his swing. Kind of the same thing when you go through downswings in the market. You don't want to change your strategy in the way that you've approached the markets that got you profitable in the first place. You really just want to kind of tweak and adjust a few things here and there. And for me, that's the sizing of the positions that I kind of put myself in. Maybe I started sizing up too much or sizing up too much that kind of got me in that place. Maybe I want to size down a little bit. Or maybe I've been too aggressive. Maybe I want to back off a little bit in the market and be a little bit less aggressive with my entry points. Just very small tweaks. But the overall strategy of trading on a day-to-day basis is not going to change. But I found that interview very interesting because, being a trader, I try to correlate a lot of things into trading, and it kind of reminded me of when traders go through a slump, and I've seen a lot of newbie traders kind of go through it, and I've been there myself, and I've made that mistake where I thought, I need to change the strategy. The strategy's no longer working, or whatever the case may be, when really it wasn't the strategy, it just was the way I was approaching the markets. But 11:06 here. I'm done rambling. That's going to be it for me. You guys have a good one. Again, about $800 in profit. I'll get that posted. We'll get the YouTube videos posted. They'll be posted faster. That way you can watch them a little bit quicker now that Spectrum hooked up the symmetrical speeds for us on the upload. So that's it for me. Again, congratulations if you made profits on the day. This is not an easy trading day by any means. A lot of consolidation, a lot of big ranges out there. So that's it for me. You guys have a good one. We'll end the week tomorrow on Friday. Hopefully better market conditions, some bigger profits, and kind of end the week. But that's it for me. Peace.